So, you got your TV hung up on the wall like a pro, but you're looking at some ugly cables. So now what? Steve here from Ask the Electrical Guy, and I want to show you how to conceal those wires inside the wall. So obviously that TV had to come off the wall for us to get started, which I've already done. The next thing I'm going to do is begin to install what we call a recessed TV box. It's a dual box, which means it's got an opening here for a power outlet that we'll plug the TV into, and then this smaller opening over there is for the low volt cables. It fits inside the wall, putting your outlets and your connections actually behind the surface of the wall, which is kind of nice. So the next step here is to locate where do we want this thing. Obviously it wants to go behind the TV because you don't want to see this, but does it go left, center, right? And that's going to be driven pretty much by your TV in particular, what side the connections are on. So in my case, the connectors go on this side, so I'm going to kind of aim for the left of center. The other thing you want to do is notice where the studs are on the wall, because this is a remodel box. You want to miss the studs in this case. When you've got the bracket already up there, all you got to do usually is find the two screws that are lagged into the stud, and there it is. So I'm going to put this thing right about there, okay? The product that you buy will either give you a template that you cut out, or they'll give you the actual dimensions to cut the hole the right size. Obviously you don't want your hole to be too big or you'll have a problem. So you got to get kind of exact about this. Now for the fun part, you get to cut a hole in the wall. This is a keyhole saw or drywall saw, whatever you like. It's made specifically for drywall. And here we go. Some people would use a reciprocating saw for this. I like to use a hand saw because I don't know what's behind there. And so if I do run into something like some plumbing or whatever, I'll be able to feel it with this rather than a power tool, which will just power right through it and it's too late then. Next thing I want to do is just dry fit this into the hole, make sure it works. That's what it should do, is fit just like that. However, I'm not going to install it yet because we're not quite ready for that. Now actually the very next thing I want to do is pull all of our cables up through the wall and out through the opening so that they're ready for me. It's much easier to do that now than after that box is installed. So let's get doing that. We're going to need all our HDMI cables. Whatever you need for the TV gets pulled up here. Also a new power cable for that outlet. All right, now we're about to start working with power, so please, this is a reminder, make sure you shut things off that you're working on. Don't work on any live circuits. But what we want to do is get 120 volt power up to this opening so that we can feed our new outlet. So to do that, we're going to find a local power source. Usually another outlet is the best thing to do, and just run a new wire from that outlet to this outlet. So let me show you how to do it. So as luck would have it, we already have an outlet right here below where our TV box is going to go. So it's a pretty short trip from here to there. All we need to do is get a wire between these 2 points. So the first thing we do, of course, again, shut the power off, and then we're going to open this up. So I've killed power. I can verify that with a proximity tester, which if the power were on, it would chirp at me, so I know it's safe to work with now. And we're going to use this outlet as our power source to feed the new outlet behind the TV. What I've done is I've pulled the outlet out of the box, and inside here there's an extra opening for wires. You just kind of take a screwdriver and knock that out of your way. And because it's not an outside wall, there's no insulation in here, and I'm not going very far, so I can take my wire. This is a 14-2 Romex. This is what I'm using for this because that's what it's fed with for 15 amps. And I can just slide this right up through the box like that, as far as I can go. I could probably reach it now. There it is. So now I have a wire here for my new outlet coming down to this existing outlet. Okay, next we're going to do is connect this wire to the outlet. That'll be our power source. Take a knife and strip the jacket off. a little paper there, get rid of that. Okay. I don't need all that insulation in the box, usually about 1 inch. There's my wires, they don't need to be that long. I'll cut them there. Next we take our strippers and strip it like that. In this case the grounds are wire knotted together, so I'll take the wire nut off and add this one to the party. Now put the neutral with the neutral, Phillips screwdriver. You can either put it on the same screw as the other neutral or use the one next to it. Does not matter, it's the same point electrically. Just make sure white goes to white and black goes to black. That's kind of important. All right, they're hooked up. So once I turn the circuit back on, that will energize my new wire, which we're obviously not going to do right now. Moving right along, we've got our power ready to go up here at the TV. The next thing we want to do is provide an opening down low for all of the HDMI low volt cables, whatever you have for the TV, that they'll run into the wall down here and come out of the wall up here so you don't see them. I'm using one of these trim pieces that are made just for that, so that the wires can go up through here and it just kind of gives a nice finished look. If you don't want to mess with it, you can just cut a hole in the wall and call it good, but I'm going to do it nice. I also need to install this first. This is a low voltage ring that goes, it's a remodel, it goes into the wall, and then this will connect to that. So we got to cut another hole. Okay, so we've got a new hole in the wall, and this low volt bracket goes in there, and we just tighten down the screws, and these wings will grab the back side of the drywall and make it secure. That gives our bracket here something to grab onto, so you end up with that. Okay? You do it so that the scoop is facing up, obviously, because that's the direction you want the cables to go. But I'm not going to put this on yet. The next step is to actually run the cables. We are ready to run our cables inside the wall. In this case, I've only got 2 HDMI cables, so 2 HDMI cables is what we're running. Now, in this case, I'm in an interior wall, so it's open, there's no insulation. I can just drop this down and grab it, and I won't have any trouble. If you happen to be working on a wall that has insulation, you're never going to push this through it. So you would need something like a fish rod, and for that, I recommend one of these guys. This is a nylon fish rod, and they can be purchased online or in a home store. I'll show you the link that you can follow if you need one of these, okay? They're really great to have around. But I'm just going to drop these down the hole and hope for the best. There's one. Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't I send 2 down? Okay, just to make it a little easier, I'm going to tape these together so that I only really have to find one in there. And there they are. Now we are ready to install our TV box. Everything is there, so remember the big hole is for the outlet. So I'll bring the outlet wire through there, and I will bring my low volt wire through the low volt thing. And all we have to do is these 4 screws here are what tighten it down. They activate those little wings on the other side. Don't over tighten them or you might damage the drywall. This little trim piece is to finish off the low volt side. And we'll just shove these through there like that. And then it snaps in place. Pull however much through that you think you'll need. Okay, the next thing is to install this outlet box in the opening that's provided. This doesn't come with the kit. You'll have to buy that separately. Open up the little tab there. Pull enough wire in. And next, we'll install the outlet, which you learned to do earlier, didn't you? And they give you these adorable little trim pieces. And now that part's done, we can turn the power back on and test this. Power is back on. I can test this outlet now. I'm going to use this plug tester. Just plug it in there and lights come on and tells me my outlet's good to go. So we're just about done. The only thing left to do is complete the one down here. Remember this? The only thing left to do is to install that. So we'll just run the cables through it. And finished. Now that's better. Ooh, I like this part.